It's that time again!
You've now entered the No Sales Zone.
No Sales Zone.
With Chris Fresh.
The plumbing sales coach.
Peels back the curtain of what sales really is. Buckle up. Buckle up. Buckle up. And get ready to learn how to increase ticket average by providing better service. And now, your host,
Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome
CF.
The plumbing sales coach.
Hey, what's up? All right, now look, I don't even know how this could have worked out. We're on the set of Friends, and if you look up above me, you might see a sign that says service. We did not put that in there. That's literally, I think, on the original set of Friends. Cool, because it's a show that we've watched for years. I can remember it ever since just having a few kids. For those that follow along, know that I'm eight. That's right, 8 children, all mine, one at a time with my wife, old school parents, you might say. And they are a blessing. And I'm going to tell you right now, I just think that that's kind of neat that even all the way back then when I was younger, service was in my life. You can't make this stuff up. Who do we have on here? We say he's Randall Gilmore in the house. Good to see you, sir, as always. And Adam Briner, two close and personal people in my life. I love them both. Robert Avila, another one of those kind of people. What up, CF? He says, good to see you in the house. Lance Ball, my boy, all the way out from Rock Springs, Wyoming. With Aspen Mountain Plumbing, he's a CEO. He's a plumbing business owner. He also is a plumber with a license, and he's a license to service. That's right. Ed Gregory on here. Anthony Vodnik, good to see both of you. As usual, it's always good to see all of you. Tonight we're doing Q&A. I've got a couple of questions and answers and things from the past that you guys have asked that haven't been answered, or maybe they've been answered, but I want to make sure they get answered. We're also going to take live questions tonight, right now. Anything and almost everything, at least related to me, that I will be willing to share with you. Jill says, evening, Chris. Good to see you. In fact, I had a great call today with your owner. He's an awesome dude And you know what else, Jill? I was talking about your plumbing company earlier today because I was talking to another gentleman in Toronto, Canada, non-plumbing related, just a totally different circumstance. But it was just interesting. I was thinking about you guys up in Orangeville, so it's good to see you. Chad Collins, always good to see you, my brother. From Pride Plumbing out of, I love the intros. It's one of my favorite things of the show. I love seeing all of you, talking to all of you. Know some of you, a lot of you guys are in my training program, so I've gotten a chance to actually talk to you and through Zoom or even come out to your shops and meet you. And I know you now, and so I've got a chance to really picture who I'm talking to. I can't really see you right now, but you guys can see me. A lot of times you creep me out a little bit because you know more about me than you should when I just finally met you for the first time. What up, CF? Frankie Lamelli in the house. He says, nice set. Yeah, friends, baby, because that's what we are tonight. We're all friends. We're going to do Q&A. You guys are going to ask me questions related to sales and service, related to business and entrepreneurship, related to life, and just anything. I've been married forever, been through the ups and the downs, got 25,000 kids, so I know a little something about failing at parenting. I'm going to tell you, everything you learn from me is because I failed at it miserably, but I just kept trying, and then eventually I failed more. Hey, what's up, Bob Kellogg? Good to see you, sir. He says, hey, Chris. Always good to see Bob Kellogg. This guy is he's a clown. He never grew up. I'm going to be honest. He never grew up, but he's got a lot of wisdom in his age, and so he is out there just killing it. Him and his daughter are putting together something special in La Crosse, Wisconsin with Advanced Plumbing Systems. That's right, Advanced Plumbing Systems. I used to call it Advanced Plumbing Solutions, and I was hoping to pause for dramatic effect for him so you'd think I was going to get it wrong, and then I didn't. Boom, shalakalaka. Probably still got it wrong. I probably created a new word. Tanner, it's good to see you, sir. Always good to see you as well. And then Jenny Suskraut, hopefully I said that right. I always take a risk. I love taking risks. I took a risk. Good to see you on here as well. Tonight we're talking about really whatever you guys want to talk about. And I thought we would kick it off first things first. Primolo. Is that a thing? Primolo? No? It's made. All right, as it is now. Primolo. Anyways, we're going to do something where I've been getting a lot of questions about quotes. What do we do with these quotes? What do we do about, especially with the virus, a lot of people calling up and trying to get quotes over the phone, and they want some information and without you really coming out to the house. And so we're going to address that. We're going to address that here tonight. We're going to talk about that. We're going to talk. Who'd like to talk about that? We're also going to talk about what you guys want to talk about. Give me your questions. Come on, firemen right now. Now's a good time to ask your questions. Don't be bashful. Your question is probably something that one of these other people are thinking about, but they're not brave enough to ask. So you can ask. In fact, in honor Tonight we're going to change things up. Now, normally, for those who have been following the show, you know we do this $25 Visa gift card giveaway that gets you into the $200 Visa gift card through the comment of the night. But not tonight. Not tonight. Tonight we're going to do question of the night. Tonight we're going to do question of the night. If you ask the best question, then you're going to be entered into the drawing that then is done weekly for the $25 gift card, and then the winners of the $25 gift card get entered into the drawing for the $200 gift card. I feel like I'm so repetitive when I say that. It's like we just need like a little screen thing that we can just flash up there that breaks all that down. I'm winded from just explaining my own giveaway. I'm like wearing myself out trying to give you guys money. Like that's just, it's killing me, literally. All right, guys, look, so also get subscribed to the show. All you got to do is type subscribe right into the comments, and then you'll get a Facebook Messenger message. You got to respond to that because Mark Zuckerberg wants to make sure you're a human. And when you do that, you are now subscribed. You'll get alerts every time we go live. You'll never miss another episode. You always have an enter to get into the drawings. You'll have a chance to hear hopefully the awesome advice we're giving on this show, the valuable tools and assets that we're trying to give you through the name of relationship building and service building and entrepreneurship thinking and all that is encompassed in that. So hopefully you guys are getting value in that way. Cost says, give it away, give it away, give it away, give it away now. Michael Cardiel, good to see you. Keith Lindsay Hunt. In fact, Keith, we were just talking about you. Your ears were burning, sir. In fact, you can go up there and see the comments. Jill says Keith is the bomb. So, I don't know. Now the FBI is listening. Lance Ball says, what's the best way to educate a customer about the benefits of doing a repipe? Plums up, plumbing and drains. That's what's going on, everyone. Good to see all of you. Hey, guys, look, make sure you type subscribe into the comments. That'll get you subscribed to the show. Also, if you want the ebook, the free ebook for all of you business owners out there, the 3 lies that you've been told that I'm going to clear up for you. It's not just a fluff book. It's an ebook. It's a book that you can download. You'll get the ebook. You'll get the information. It'll take you to other shows that we talk in depth about those answers so you can get the understanding, get the right thinking about profiting in your business. And all you have to do is type ebook into the comments and you'll get that. It's free. All right. Christopher Bell says, got a toilet that gurgles, a sewage gas that comes from the lavatory sink drain. That's a good one. Now, that's a plumbing technical question, which I'm glad to answer. It sounds like we got a venting issue there. But at the same time, I'm leaning more towards, and it's funny that Chris brings that up because, Chris, I'm going to save those. We got an awesome segment coming up. I know my producer is excited about it. I'm excited about it. All the people that helped me create it. It's not even my idea, which is probably why it's so awesome. That's probably why the idea is so good. It wasn't my idea. And so we're gonna be having people call in with their plumbing problems live on the set, live on the air, and we're gonna deal with them for the customer. We're gonna deal with them right there. You guys can jump in and help out as well. But I am talking about things like how can you guys be better at service? How can you guys be better at business? How can you guys get from whatever you're trying to get to the next level? He says, I have no service van. I'm growing out of the truck bed, though. It is wise to spend a few grand on an enclosed trailer until I'm ready to is it wise to spend a few grand on an enclosed trailer until I'm ready to purchase a van? That's a great question. He says he has a truck basically with a bed on it, and then he is wondering, should I do something here to protect things? We'll talk about that. It's a great question. In fact, I've gone to a lot of plumbing companies, shops. I've gone to some of your shops, and you guys are operating out of these because some companies are switching from construction to service or whatever the reason, and you guys are operating out of these pickup trucks with either the tool beds on the back or whatever it may be. And there are better ways to go about that. We can cover that here in just a few seconds. It's a great one. Chris Koss says, is the vent blocked on the other one? Absolutely. We can get into that kind of stuff. I'm excited to get into that kind of stuff with that new segment because I think we can help serve some people in everyone's communities. In fact, if you're a plumber and you're from that community and that happens to be someone in your area and you're in my program and I know you're going to go treat them right and do it right, I will link you up. No questions asked. No need to. Nothing in it for me. Jeremy, save and get the van, he says. Lance says, absolutely. It's a good point right there. And we'll talk about that in just a second. He says, so I want to, really quick, let's go back to the first question that we had, which is one I brought to the table myself because it's one that's been asked. What do we do about these quotes? Should we charge people service call fee to go out and do these quotes? Should we do free quotes? Should we, how do we convert these quotes? Well, here's the thing. First of all, we have to understand, in some cases, there are truly quote scenarios. These are remodels. These are people thinking about going from, they've got a 75 75-gallon gas power vent. Maybe another plumber came into their home and said something. A handyman said something. A friend said something. They read an article. They're thinking about going tankless, but there's nothing wrong with their water heater now, and it's only 8 or 9 years old. That person, I've even seen it at 5 and 3 years old. That person might genuinely just be trying to get quotes, and that's how they process. There are those people who are educated consumers. They're logical buyers. They're gonna think it through. They're gonna try to get in front of everything they can get in front of. Most of the time, they can't get in front of plumbing. That's why you don't see it happen very often in plumbing. Most of these calls, 90% of these calls, 95% of these calls, 98%, 99% of these calls are not going to be that. Okay, these are going to be service calls. There's another reason why people might ask for a quote. The reason that people may ask for a quote is because they really don't know how to negotiate. They want to make sure they don't get pressured into buying something. This isn't their first rodeo. Maybe they've had someone out to their home. They got pressured into buying something they didn't want. Maybe it wasn't even a plumber. Maybe it was an electrician. Maybe it was an HVAC guy. Maybe it was a pest control guy. Maybe it was the Kirby vacuum sales guy. Either way, doesn't matter. They want to protect themselves. And so what they're doing is they're creating what I like to call a virtual barrier between them and you. It's basically saying, hey, look, here, I don't have, it's kind of like this idea that a lot of times people put things off on other people. Like, you know, we've obviously, my boss won't let me do it, or my manager won't let me do it, or something like that. You know, the customer, I know you guys are out there doing that. The customer wants you to help them out. It's 20 below, and they're like, can you help me unload my truck? And you're like, I would, but my manager won't. Right? It's similar to this idea that it's, hey, look, you knew up front, I have an upfront contract with you. I was just getting a quote. This is their style of negotiation. They don't trust themselves in the moment. And so there's those people. And I've been those people, and I've bought in the same day because I am those people. And so I understand those people. And so what I want to make sure that I really grasp in that concept there, when someone comes to me and says, hey, I'm just looking for a quote only, I hope you guys are paying attention tonight, because this right here is gonna get it. This is gonna be the difference maker. This might convert 1 out of 10, 1 out of 20, doesn't matter. When it does, what happens is you get into the right conversations, and when you do, those are typically not $300 tickets. Those are usually $1,000 tickets, $2,000 and $3,000 and $4,000 tickets, because a lot of times those customers know they have bigger problems and they don't want to be sold something they don't end up needing. They want to make sure they make a good purchase. So you have an opportunity to serve them and do something with it. So please pay attention to this. So what I like to do is I like to ask them some questions, because I understand here's the core truth. It isn't that they just want to quote. It's that they want to make sure they get the right information before they make their purchase, just like I got through saying a second ago. And so really what we're looking at here is an opportunity to ask the right questions so you can get into the right conversations. Folks, it's really that simple. We often, I literally, and I'm looking at some of the people on this call right now. Chris Cost, Kevin Gable, Lance Ball, maybe not Lance Ball, I don't know, Plums Up and Drains. They almost all of them there. You guys have seen it where I've been in a situation where maybe a customer's saying no, and they're pretty much like, you know, and it's not like we're pushing them. It's just I give them 3 options, and like, you know, I think I want to wait, or let me talk to my spouse or whatever. And I just ask one very friendly question, just one. And we end up doing more than what I even offered to begin with. And tell me I'm a liar. If anyone has ever been on a sales call with me, and there's a lot of people on here that you know me, it's not pushy, it's not sales. It is genuinely just seeking to understand what they are after, what they want, what's the reason for the barrier. We need to break barriers down, right? And it's done through questions. Is the hammer, it's the tool, it's the chisel of choice for me. Somebody says I've witnessed magic. That's Cos. You're stupid. He has seen some crazy things. Yeah, baby, we're on the set of Friends, because that's what we are. We're friends tonight. We're all friends. We're all here trying to learn and grow. All right, I have a service van growing out of the truck bed, though. Is it wise to spend a few grand on an enclosed trailer until I'm ready to purchase a van? Look, a van is very important in the service game. One of the most important things you can do in life and really in service with your van is to be prepared for the opportunity. In fact, Les Brown, you know, I've said this 1,000 times. I heard this when I was like, a lot of you know my story, know that when I was 17 years old, I was hanging out with Robert Kiyosaki. Didn't want to be there. It wasn't like I was some rich person. I just happened to be backstage and sitting down next to him, best friend's dad kind of thing. And blah, 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 blah. Well, one thing leads to another, and I totally ignore all that advice. And I learned at an early age, you got to heed this stuff. And so when I started watching videos and learning, Les Brown always said, you got to be prepared for an opportunity. You have to. In fact, he said it's better to be prepared for an opportunity and not have one than it is to have an opportunity and not be prepared. And there's so much wisdom in that when you think about it. And so with your truck, it's the same thing. Like, have a water heater, have a gas and electric water heater on it. Have a couple of, I know you, Jeremy. I know where you're at. I know what your market. You need sump pumps. You need battery backup systems. You need batteries on the truck. You need a toilet, probably a Toto Entrada, elongated. Those come standard comfort height. Have a round and elongated if you get the right size truck and keep things orderly and nice. Get yourself a nice, I'm struggling, folks. 4-inch or 3-inch tube and shove all your pecs and stuff in there or whatever. But stock that thing out, man. Get it ready. So you're a $10,000 of tools and material. You're the local supply shop with a professional plumber in their driveway, and actually not in their driveway. And I'll talk about that another time. But absolutely, you want to be able to be as prepared as possible. And quite honestly, towing a trailer behind your truck is going to be a little difficult to do. It's just going to make things more difficult. And it's going to be, there is a reality that if could you imagine if you went to a baseball game and you're in the 4th inning and then Ray Lewis comes out and his shoulder pads and his helmet and steps into the batter's box, you'd be like, something's not right here. Something doesn't fit. And that's kind of what it feels like for the customer. If they're expecting a service plumber and they've been through the service plumbing game, they kind of expect, there's a certain game they expect, certain thing they expect. What we got to do is change the perception of the fact that we are not broke fix and we are not just MacGyver plumbers, that we are actual service plumbers. Be a rolling shop, baby. That should be a song. Be a rolling shop, yo. I don't know. That's not my calling. Rex Modecki. Rex Modecca in the house. My man, Rex and Effects, all the way out from Southern Cali. I've hung out with this dude. I literally been, I think, to baseball games with this guy. I can't believe I just said his last name wrong. I got choked up. I saw him. I wanted to cry. Sean Paul Carden, good to see you. It's been a while, brother. It's good to see you. It's exactly right. Go out to service the customer, and it'll pay off service over sales every time. All right, so that was one question. Let's get another question. We got another question. Let's go down here. What's the best way to educate a customer about the benefits of doing a repipe? Look, here's the thing. Anytime you're doing a repipe, or even if you're doing a sewer line, I like to think of, what's the return on investment here for the customer? Okay. Look, I get we can just do a minor repair. I get that. I really do. I honestly do. But if, I'm just going to tell you right now, it's 2020. Galvanized pipes, we're done. Cast iron, we're done. It's got to go. Pull it out. When you see it, make the recommendation to get it out of the home. It's got to go. It is 2020, folks. This isn't time to try to go get that one fitting in the back of my truck in the bucket with all the other fittings that I've saved from the 1950s that'll work in this once. I've been saving it my whole life for this one moment. This ain't time for that. That ain't the game we're playing right now. The game we're playing is going out and getting the customer in a good situation. So I would educate the customer on the costs of not repiping. Meaning this, look, I can make the minor repair today. It's going to be $300, $250, $200, $400, $500, $800, $1,200, whatever it's going to be. And that's going to solve about, today's problem, but your long-term problem, it's going to solve about 2% of the problem, 1% of the problem. And so at this rate, this repipe is going to basically, because at some point you will repipe this house, either whether you do it piece by piece or you do it at one time. It's just going to get, the longer you wait, the more expensive it's going to get. And I would explain that cost to them, and I would do that math with them. I'd say at this rate, you're basically looking at, a $400,000 million repipe. And with inflation, it's going to be 3 gazillion. Yeah, I don't know, whatever it's going to be. That's the reason why you can't find a lot of those fittings anymore. That is that's the joke, because they're all in them trucks in little buckets hiding in the corner. That's hilarious, Brandon. Hey, look, Brandon, that is hilarious. I want you win on the spot, Johnny on the spot, $10 Starbucks gift card from my boy. I don't know him personally, just so everyone knows. But you email in info@theplumbingsalescoach.com. You made me laugh. That is hilarious. My boy. That was funny. All right. So yeah, I would educate them on the cost of repiping, because here's the thing: you're gonna repipe the home. It's going to happen at some point. All right, what's some other questions, guys? The question of the night wins the prize, baby. Question of the night wins the prize. Here's the prize. You get entered into the drawing. The drawing happens once a week, meaning there's only 4 people in the drawing every week. And one of those people, that would be 25% of those people, meaning you have a 25% chance of winning by simply getting comment of the night. And tonight's going to be question of the night. Anyways, you get a $25 Visa gift card. The winners of those $25 Visa gift cards every single month, so there's, again, another 4 to 5 entries depending on how many weeks in the month, they will be entered into a $200 giveaway. So $225 for putting in a good comment or asking a good question. He says, yeah, boy. He says, but true. That's funny. Dang, you got a second gift card for saying but true. That was maybe, no, I'm joking. All right, what are some, sorry, he's probably like, oh. Nah, not really. I'm sure he's thankful for the one. All right, how do you make it look so easy? I was like, wait, make what? You're stupid. Stop it. King of service talk, that's Cost. Cost makes it look easy. Doing it over the phone on a nonstop basis, getting 5-star reviews, 5-digit tickets. This guy's a winner. He's a winner. All right, and I basically have him locked up for life, so none of y'all can have him, and I pay him very well and can't afford him, promise. He's amazing. He's the best. He is Cost. All right. Good dude, love him. All right, so what are some good interview questions for a new, younger guy interviewing for a position with us? Well, I can't take credit for this, but I did get taught a very good, valuable lesson. Now, about a year and a half ago, I had a retreat out in St. George, Utah, and some owners came out from different companies, and one of those companies was Cisneros Brothers, and one of those owners was Carlos Cisneros, and he had said in that retreat that one of the things he does when he hires people is he looks for people that he can care about, because they're kind of a very culture, very family-driven style organization. And so they look for people they can care about, because then he knows that those people will care about his customer. He really believes in taking care of his guys. And so that is something I learned firsthand from him. But I've also owned my own companies where I've had to interview. In fact, I've got employees of my own right now. And I typically ask them, hey, look, if the building catches on fire, who are you going to save first? If they say me, then they're hired. If they say someone else, they're fired. Get it? See what I did there? But seriously, no, what I would ask them is, these would be questions. I usually like to put people in situations. I know Bob asked the question. Bob, you know the answers because I was out at your shop and we talked about this. But one of the things I like to do is I like to say, look, let's say it's a plumber or it's somebody, a younger technician or whatever, and it doesn't matter. They've never plumbed before, but I'm thinking about hiring them as an apprentice. I say, look, you walk into the home, you got a leaking water heater, the customer's crying, there's carpet like 6 feet away, it's starting to get wet on the carpet, and the water heater's leaking, and it's 4:30 and it's Thursday afternoon. What are your first thoughts? And we're gonna find out what this dude's about right now. Because it doesn't really matter what they know about plumbing. Everybody's the best plumber in an interview. In the interview, nobody's been a better plumber than that person ever before in the history of plumbing on this planet and all the other planets that we may discover or undiscover in the future. And for those that are over 30, you get that joke. He says, what up, CF, my boy? All the way up, man. It's good to see you, John. I love seeing you on this show. I don't think I've seen you on here very often. It's great to see you. That dude's all the way out from Albany, Oregon, John and Kelly Hatch. They are believers in Christ, as I am, and so I love them for that. But they're also plumbing business owners out there doing it, providing service. They got our stud technician named Miles. Dude's a rock star. All right, Austin Sanchez says, I'm out of breath. He didn't say that. I did. All right, what did Austin say? He says, is it a good idea to bring a potential... First of all, is it a good idea for me to be sharing all these thoughts on here? Like, am I just going to give away all my information? No one's going to want my trainings. Now, I promise you guys, I'm not giving away any of my stuff that's in my paid trainings. This is the surface. Promise. He says, is it a good idea to bring a potential client out to your service truck so they can see how clean it is and show what kind of a tech you are? That's not a practice I've ever particularly partaken in. Although I don't speak English very good, so I guess there's a lot of things I don't do probably right. But no, I've never done that. What I've done is I got lost in my partaked in. What I've done is I've made sure my truck is clean. I make sure my guys' trucks are really clean because the doors get left open and people come and go while you're there, and people drive by while you're getting in your truck and doing things, and you have a big, huge logo on your truck. So I definitely keep my truck clean. Would advise you guys keep your truck clean. And then on top of that, we've got the stocking of the truck. The more, I was in the military, and we had to live in a rack that was like this deep, where you lifted up coffin locker and you had to keep your whole life in there. So you talk about being able to be efficient. And so I understand that you can get more stuff in a truck when it's done efficiently. You can find things faster, so you're more efficient. So that's why. But I never really took a customer out to my truck. By the time I got done showing them all the problems in the home and educating them and showing them real problems without having to like convince them or tell, we were homies. We were homies. I'd bring my boss out and show him how clean and organized my truck is. That's right. Spoken from a boss, Bob. That's funny. Yes, absolutely. I mean, look, man, anytime, and if I'm not mistaken, though, I think Austin is an owner. But either way, as a technician, I would, Austin, please, in fact, everybody, where are you guys at? What company are you with? What position do you hold? Let us know who we're talking to, what we're talking about, because this stuff's for all of us, right? Share the show. In fact, by the way, I'll take a little, the Fresh Force, that's coming. I think I'm allowed to do little things like that. Fresh Force is coming, and I'm always asking for permission from someone who can't even give me permission. I'm like, can I do this? And he's like, I don't know. And it's so fresh, so then we just do it. Fresh Force is coming, and that is basically all of you that have been Ben Coheen from can't even think right now. He's gonna punch me. Neighborhood plumber. Basically, guys like that have been sharing the show and been here from the beginning and talking about it and commenting and interacting. The top fans, all of you in the program, you guys are all gonna be part of that, and you're gonna be getting some cool stuff, and cool things are coming. But I'm telling you, we're paying attention to y'all. Help me get the show out more. Help us promote the show. Help us let other people know, because here's the thing. The show is free. I'm not even asking you to sell anything for me. Give away the show. I'll give away money. I don't know where I didn't do so hot in business class. No, but seriously, I'm doing this because this is my give back. I always ask you guys to give to serve your communities. This is my give back, and this is how I help Mrs. Jones have a better experience. No matter where in the world I am, Mrs. Jones can be getting, Mrs. Smith, Mrs. Stewart can be getting a better experience because I helped impact somebody that looked at it slightly different and gave them that better experience. And that's what I'm really here to do. That's why I do what I do. Appleby Plumbing, he says, Old Lyme, Connecticut, one on the shoreline, license, been there for 14 years. Pro Plumber SoCal, coast to coast, all the way from the coast to coast. Fresh Force sounds cool. Randall Gilmore says, I think it does sound amazing. That guy's funny. He's just constantly, he's got the comments. He's got if you only knew, he has the ninja comments of the night, the secret backdoor comments of the night, the ones where, like, they're really the best comments of the night if everybody understood. But just a little, okay, look, Fresh Force, something new we're about to launch, coming out. Can't really say too much more than that, other than the creator of the name of it, the guy that was in the meeting that said, what if we called it this, is none other than me. And so, I'll take all the credit. I'm joking. It was Randall Gilmore. And so that's why he thinks it's so cool, but it is cool. La Crosse, Wisconsin, Bob Kellogg says, I'm out of Tucson, Arizona with Cummings Plumbing, service tech, baby. And I love how he capitalized service. And Austin's been watching the show for a while. Austin, you get it, my man. You totally get it. Because look, you're a service plumber, service first, plumbing second. Plumbing is the expectation, guys. Service is how you knock them off their socks. How do you can take control of a job where a customer watches you and constantly talks? Educate and inform. I mean, Cost tell you, Robert Avila will tell you, in any scenario they've ever been around me, when the more the customers around me, the more I'm going to educate and inform, because two things are going to happen. Number one, I'm either going to impress them and give them even more service because that's what they want, or number two, I'm going to and I'm going to let them tell me some things and sound educated and do their thing, because usually times we're talking about 78-year-old guys. That's right, 76-year-old guys. That's who's doing this to us. And then the other thing that I do is, he says, love it, Fresh Force, hashtag. The other thing I do is I find other problems. Once I start educating them on that particular faucet or that particular valve or that particular shutoff or that particular thing, then these are also the same people that they have a list when you, look, people are patterns. So if someone's bird dogging you, let's call it what it is, there's a whole nother little pattern that followed before that. When you showed up, they had a list I need this fixed, this fixed, this fixed, this fixed. Then I want to ask you what you think about that, and that. And then, oh, by the way, can you take a look at something that I had someone else do over here? Can I get an amen? Can I get an amen on that? Is that what we're dealing with right now, right? Is that right? Can I get is this the right customer? This is the right customer. I know this is the right customer. So what happens is we find ourselves like in this track that they put us on, this like kind of like the ride at Disneyland. You think you're driving the car, but you're not. And what happens is they lead us down this thing, and so we end up getting to this weird situation where they're bird dogging us, and maybe we end up only selling a couple things because we package up their option sheets. But I find that those people are sometimes they're checking your intelligence. Number two, they're also wanting to make sure that they don't get ripped off. These are older people who've been down the road before. But number three, you have an opportunity. Everything's an opportunity. Everything is an opportunity to wow. Everything is an opportunity to impress. Everything is an opportunity to amaze. Okay, everything is an opportunity. Walt Disney, there's a famous story about Walt Disney when his brother didn't want to invest the money that Walt did, and Walt basically made a decision when his brother was gone to put real gold inside the castle. Long story short, he knew it was important, the details mattered, and so when the customer's bird dogging me, I'm going to tell him hey, look, he's like, well, what do you think about this? Okay, well, here's what I think about this. I got all day. I'm not in a rush when I'm in the home. I only got one call that day. I only got one call that day. That's that call right now, this time, in this moment. And we're not doing anything else in life until this gentleman, this particular person, this lady, this whoever gets taken care of. That's it. I got one call. I got one life, one mission, one dream, baby. I mean, that's what I'm thinking about the whole time. And so I'm like, okay, well, we're going to be here for 2 hours talking about this list, I guess. That's how it's got to be. Not really. I take control of things. What is the percentage of annual revenue you recommend spending on marketing? That's a trick question. Depends on what stage of the game you're in. Really depends on what stage of the game you're in, how much money you're working with. I know it's a percentage question. That's a great way to word it. But at the same time, it really matters on what you're trying to do. I can tell you this, my friend, for myself, I own a business and I have employees, and obviously I have this show and I'm making my own decisions in my own life, right? And so with me, I've made a decision to increase my marketing spend right now because we're launching some new things. If some that have followed the show, part of that marketing spend is giving money away on the show. Part of that marketing spend is promoting the show and different things like that. So you guys got to think about it like that. Marketing isn't just click ads. It's not just SEO. It's not just Facebook ads. It's the whole kit and caboodle. It's your whole entire theory. It's the process. Hopefully you got a vision for what you're trying to achieve, who you're trying to achieve it with as well. There's so many aspects to marketing, and so then it becomes too, what percentage of the percentage are we attributing to Google and who are attributing to Facebook, and what do we expect to get out of Facebook versus what would we expect to get out of a Google, because it's two very different things. And so Anthony Vodnik has been banned from the show. You've been blocked. You've been banned from the show. He's in Anaheim. This is his son pitches for the minor leagues for the Braves. He knows I'm playing with him. I love that guy. He's awesome. Anthony is longtime listener. Been watching the show for a long time. He's a great dude, but got a really good son too. His son's a hard worker, dedicated. I see him working out. I don't know what time it is in California, but son's usually out 22 to 24 hours, and his son's working out in the dark. So he's probably got to be like 2 a.m. And he says, why do the Dodgers choke? The Dodgers choke every year because Clayton Kershaw pitches 3 too many pitches every year. 3 too many pitches every year. And so that's the difference between championships and not. Don't think about any other call except the one you're on. Amen. He says, through your education, it allows customers to start thinking if that's something that they could benefit from. Now, look. This is a guy who totally gets it, Robert Avila. He works for me. He is the account manager that a lot of you deal with that are in my program. You've spoken to him. You've worked with him on some level. You guys understand this dude's about relationships and taking care of people, and he loves you just like I do. He says, like Aqua Teen Hunger Force. Not sure. That'd be my first time hearing about that, but maybe. If they're cool, if they're as cool as me, if they're fresh. I'm just joking. Josh says, how do you sell to the person that called you out for a leaking T&P? You test the pressure, show the owner high pressure, explain why they should get a PRV, and then they tell you that they don't need one because the pressure has never caused them any issues. Well, a couple of things, Josh. Let's just first accept the fact that not everybody is going to buy option 2 and 3. And Josh is in the program. Josh is a high achiever. In fact, we work closely with that company, and he is one of maybe their top guy. I haven't looked at the numbers recently, but he definitely has been their top guy for most of the times I can recall. So he's a killer. Okay, so he gets it. Okay, he's also been watching the show for a long time. He's an awesome dude. Now, with that being said, the question of the customers, look, you're going to present the options, but when a customer says it's never caused me trouble before, I typically need to educate them because they're right. It has never caused them problems before. And one of two things are happening. Number one, the pressure hasn't always been that high, and it just recently went that high. Or number two, it hasn't been great. Maybe we're talking about an 85 PSI, and it's causing problems over time. So I'm going to explain to the customer, look, well, first, you got a couple different things going on here. You got a bunch of mini dams in the home. You can see you got the high pressure. They're what's holding it back. They've been holding it back, and they can hold it back. If a product lasts 10 years and it's been under extreme pressure, it doesn't mean it's going to break instantly, but it may only last 8 years or 6 years. So you might be experiencing the lifeline of things shortening because of the high pressure. Another way I may explain to the customer is just simply saying to them, hey, look, there's a reality that as this pressure builds up on things and things start to wear out, every single one of these items is experiencing this high pressure. And so you're not only going to have the problem here right now, this is just the first one. It's like a domino. You'll start to have pressure problems at other places. As you can see, your pressure is 85. If you'd like to Google what Google says they think your pressure should be and what every other website is going to tell you, that every other website in the world is going to tell you your pressure should be, it's going to be 55 to 65 max. And so most places will say 55 actually. So with that being said, I would say some of those things in a very polite and courteous way. Another thing I would do though is I would explain to them how it may have been an increase recently. For example, when they developed the city, when they put in new subdivisions, when they put in new strip malls, when they put in new high rises. I was at a lady's house in Orangeville, Canada, right across the street. They were literally this tiny little street. In fact, Orangeville Plumbing is on here right now. Plums Up from Orangeville is on here right now. The Keith remembers the call. They're putting in like a 3-story high rise right across the street. She was about to experience some plumbing. They were just getting the legwork started because we were talking about the traffic jams that were going to be created, and she's going to experience high water pressure soon. And so these are realities. They're not myths. They're not false gauges. These are realities. Now, with all that being said, when you've done all of that and you've given the customer 3 options and you've written on there, highly recommend due to high water pressure, that customer goes with new PRV, then at that point, when the second thing fails and they call you out, you now have a little bit more leverage. You have a little bit more ammo. And so it's sometimes not a one-call fight, okay? It's important to explain. It's important to educate. But it's also important to understand that it may not happen every single night. All right, so let's do this. Let's do our drawing. That went a little bit longer than I expected. Sorry for keeping you guys on here for so long. He says, yeah, okay, I'm at my start. I feel like I did an ab workout tonight. I've just been nonstop. I feel like I've been. Who liked tonight's round of Q&A? Was it helpful? Did anybody get anything out of it? Let me know. It makes me feel good that we spent our time wisely tonight with you guys. And let's also do our question of the night. He says, one more question. When creating a list for your van, do you buy it all at once or get a big chunk and fill it over the next few weeks? Sometimes I would work with local distributors if I have a good reputation. I've been moving some products, especially when you start moving a lot of product. You start selling these tanklesses, no one else is. You start selling these softeners, no one else is. You start selling these sump pump systems with battery backups, no one else is. They'll start putting things on your truck and billing you for it when you go to replenish later. And then in that case, I book it out. But if I got to pay for it out of cash, cash is king, man. Cash flow is king. I'd never suffocate my business. I never invest more. I never put myself in a bad spot. I just don't. It's not wise. It's just not wise. Jason Kuhn, good to see you. He says, great job, Fresh. Thank you, sir. Always helpful. Chad Collins says, Chris says, yes, sir, and well said from Brandon Redmond. All right, who's going to win the question of the night. I gotta go. I'm gonna pick this one tonight, guys, because there was one. I gotta just right here. It's gonna be where'd it go? Just I'm gonna give it to Austin Sanchez, and here's the reason why. He says it's a good idea to bring a potential client out to your service truck so they can see how clean it is to show what kind of a tech you are. The reason why is you gave me some opportunities to talk about what happens in our secondary perspective, in our secondary world, meaning, as we're driving down the street on our way to that customer's house, we have to remember that we're passing potential future customers. We have to remember that we're driving by potential future customers. These are the neighbors. They're going to see your truck. If your company does yard signs out in the yard, they're going to see the yard sign. And they're going to remember if you were the jerk that drove down the neighborhood and almost hit their kid, or if you're the one that was real pleasant and polite and stopped 20 feet back and was like super whatever. They're going to remember all that stuff. When you pull up and you open your van and little Miss Nosy is looking out the window and she looks out her top secondary window, the second floor window into your van as you're opening it and getting stuff out. They can see this stuff. People can see this stuff. Make no mistake, people are looking out the window when you park in front of the home. So it's so important to really just consider all these things that are going on. It's not just, I'll tell you this, me and my wife, we used to, we still do, but we have people that clean the home. And right now we got someone that quite honestly used to work for me back when I owned my house cleaning company, and she's the best on the planet. Not going to lie. But we were looking for someone to hire, and we were going to hire one of those bigger companies. And I remember always seeing this one company right at the gas station right by my house, and they would always take a break there and smoke. They had their uniforms on. Their car was bright and yellow, and it said the maids. I'm not sure if I should have said that. They said the maids, and they were just always out there smoking cigarettes. And I was like, I'm not gonna hire you to clean my house. Didn't even call them out for a quote. I didn't even call them out for a quote because I thought to myself, that's gross. And I don't want them in my home. And that's the decisions that are being made when people see you drive down the street, when people see you cut them off, when people see you doing all kinds of stuff. It all matters. All right, guys, look, sign up for the ebook. Get the ebook. If you guys want training, type dominate into the comments, and Robert, my boy, will reach out to you and give you guys some information about our trainings. As always, I love you. That's why we do this thing. Serve your communities and everything, not just plumbing. Have a great night, guys.